Hey, this is Danny. When I recorded this video, I just used the mic from my iPad. The problem with that is that I have a Paperlike screen protector, which if you're unfamiliar with Paperlike, it's a textured screen protector that makes it feel like you're drawing on paper, hence the name. And it's fantastic. It gives you like that tactile feedback. The problem, however, is that while drawing and using the Apple Pencil, that's like right next to the mic. So there's a lot of kind of high pitched scratching noises when I'm drawing. And as someone who has a lot of sensory processing problems and someone who knows a lot of people with a lot of sensory processing problems, I know that that could be a bit of an issue for you. So if that noise is going to be a problem for you, I highly recommend putting this on mute and watching with the captions turned on. I have fully captioned the video. If not, enjoy my ramblings as I play with Adobe Illustrator for the iPad. In future videos, so that this isn't a problem, I will be recording in my office where I have a mic set up and I can record the audio separate from the video. All right, let's get into it.
So Adobe Photoshop for the iPad came out sometime last year. It was really underwhelming when it came out. I've been impressed the past month or so when I've decided to give it another go. I pretty much use Photoshop exclusively for creating mock-ups of products for my store. And I was really pleased with what I was able to do with it on the iPad. So you can imagine my absolute delight when I discovered that Illustrator had also come to the iPad. So I haven't watched any tutorials for it. I haven't really done anything with it, even though I've had it downloaded for a while. But the only thing I've really seen about it was watching Brad Colbo give his first impressions. So I'm going to be doing kind of the same thing, but while I actually play with it. So I'm coming at this from a graphic design background. That's by far the longest thing that I've been doing where I've used Illustrator, but also coming at it from an illustration and lettering background because that's how I primarily use Illustrator today. I use it for my lettering projects, illustration projects, and the few branding jobs that I still take on. So that'll be kind of the lens that I'm using when I come to this. So we have the nice touch screen. You can, it's not letting me it's looking weird. I'm trying to grab the canvas and turn it, and it doesn't look like I can really do that. So that could be mildly distressing, but that's just something I'm used to from Procreate being able to do. So I guess we'll see if that ends up being a thing. So it looks like, just like in Illustrator on the desktop, we have our toolbar over here on the left and panels over here on the right. And like other apps on the iPad, looking at the top row, we have undo, redo, share, questions, settings, etc., etc. I want to see what some of the gestures are. Okay, undo is a 2-finger tap, redo is a 3-finger tap, edit points, double tap. That's good. Scrub values and fields. So whenever we have a number, we can just hold and then scrub back and forth. Remove from toolbar. Show more options. That's typical. All right, so we can't rotate, but we can zoom and pan and fit to view. All right, that's helpful. Cool. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is just start plotting points and see kind of what happens with it. So I've touched down. Ooh, I like that it has that 40. That's nice. And I'm not touching the screen with anything other than my Apple Pencil right now. So, all right, that's nice. I'm relatively pleased with that. And it's going to let me do the same thing here. Here. All right. So, nice blob looking thing here. So I'm just grabbing the anchor points and moving them around a little bit to make an approximation of a circle. Ooh, what happened there? So for some reason, whenever I'm tapping on that, it is getting rid of one of my anchor points, and I don't want to do that. So how would I go about changing that? Okay, there's this thing in the toolbar, and this is very similar to Affinity Designer for the iPad, which is fantastic. That's what I've been using for the past couple of years whenever I need to do vector work on the iPad. So it looks like I can hit that and it just brings it right back. So it's fantastic. And now when I'm tapping it, it's not doing anything. So that's fantastic. That's what I want. Okay, so a double tap will change things up that way too. We have our rounded corners. I'm really pleased to see that in here. So I have this nice teardrop shape. Yeah. And make it a true teardrop there. So, all right, I want to see what I can do with strokes. So I'm going to look over in my panels here. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, that's for paths. Oh, that could be really interesting, using the repeat radial grid mirror. Oh, that's so cool. All right. Oh, I love that. Look at that. Oh, that is so cool. I can see this coming like really in handy when I'm working on more detailed pieces. Oh, this is the most excited I have been about a drawing app on the iPad in a while. Oh, that is awesome. Okay. So let's see what Mirror would do. Of course, Mirror does what Mirror does. All right. So with that there, that is type, object. Oh, I like that we can create stroke outlines. I was afraid that wouldn't be a thing. Make compound path. Convert to guide. I love that that is like, bam, right there. Easy to get to. Looks like these are our alignment options. Editing. I guess changing different appearance. Shape builder. Properties. What are you? Precision. Okay. So where? Oh, of course, it's over in my toolbar. Excuse the brain part there. So I'm going to grab that for the color. Well, let me make sure I have it actually selected here. Grab that for the color of my stroke. And I want to fill it with white. Okay, I am okay with that. But now my question is, I love this little context menu that comes up when you're playing with things. That's awesome. Oh, that is so cool. That makes it a lot easier to deal with stuff. So let's take a look at the stroke width there. It's like that's, oh, no, that's a cool, fun shape. I'm really enjoying that. So can you move? I don't think I can move you, but I want to move you. See, I could just do this forever. Be endlessly fascinated by it. All right. Just take it back to where it was. Okay. So that's a lot of fun. I can really see that coming in handy for me. I'm going to go to my layers and hide that. However, actually, I don't need to hide the whole layer, just the one part. Okay, so that's, looks like drawing with the pen tool is going to be pretty typical. So what I'm doing here, just kind of playing around. You don't want to draw your curves like this, but like I said, just kind of playing. Let's make a weird really expressive mouth. There's that top lip. And I'm gonna make sure that doesn't have a fill. Possibly. There we go. I'll kind of move that. And since this is a mouth, let's change that outer color. I'm going to make it purple. Purple. And let's change the fill too. Ooh, that's terrifying. We'll go with that fuchsia, which is kind of equally terrifying, to be honest. So I'm going to drag that below so I can fill it without it really negatively affecting what I have drawn here. And close that up. Make sure I kind of have my handles not too terribly crazy. All right. That is a fun thing. I really like being able to build something like that. Is it possible to grab more than one layer at once? Doesn't appear so. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm tapping on the thing and like dragging to the right because that's how I would select multiple layers in Affinity Designer. So I was kind of hoping it would be the same thing, but I guess maybe I just need to grab them both like that and see if there is a way for me to group items. There's gotta be, right? Yep, here we go. Group. All right. Gonna hide that now. Let's move on to something else. So we have this here, this tool, a brush tool, and a pencil tool. So I'm gonna play with the brush tool first and see. Now, truth be told, I did play with this a little bit earlier before I decided I was going to record a video. I did play with that. I want to undo my fill there, though. So this is something that I am super a fan of. So look at that. Do you see how effortless that was? If you really want to see what's going on, I'm grabbing what is basically the direct select tool. It created a whole shape for me and still have some of those options there. Path simplification, that's good. I like that. I'm a fan. So that is going to be awesome for me as far as some of the like more quick lettering jobs that I might do. So, I mean, I can really see this just coming in handy. Like, look at that. That's so smooth and so cool. Let's take a look at the basic chisel was a bit of fun to play with as well. I'll size that up pretty big. So the chisel just reminds me of, you know, your typical flat nib, whatever. Oh, I could just look down here. Okay. Ooh. So what happens if So I turned off merge brush strokes. Okay, so it basically looks like it is turning these things into separate shapes. So it's like if you would release a compound path in the desktop version. So I'm going to get rid of that. It's not something I am terribly worried about. I'll Merge that. Pressure dynamics I could change if I wanted. Ooh, I could even change the angle. That's going to come really in handy for the hand lettering class that I'm putting together and going to be teaching. I'm real pleased with that. So I'm going over to the pencil tool now. Smoothing I can set however high I want. And I can see this. That's pretty ugly. Let's try that again. Not much better, but I can see this coming in handy too for quickly drawing a shape if I don't want to plot every point out. So this is really great for like on the run so far, just with what I've looked at. So let's take a look at the shapes. There's an erase tool, which, okay, I don't hate that. I prefer to do things non-destructively. So like this isn't really for me because take a look at that, it just completely erased. What I would probably do is just draw a white shape over top until I knew that it was finished. And even then I would save a new version. So I would keep all of the outlines and stuff from before. But I mean, that's a good thing to have if it's something that you think you'll use. So now how would I go about, I don't know how to go about making that any different. So I was trying to see if there was a way to like add points to the star, like you can in the desktop version. So let's see, I guess what properties this might have. All right, that's not helpful. Okay. I think that'll just need to be a thing that I figure out on my own. I really want to figure out how to create something that maintains its ratio. So like how you would hold the shift key while creating something or moving something around or scaling it in the desktop version. I know that there's got to be a way to do that here. And this is getting a little crowded, so I'm going to just get rid of that. I can't say it enough. I love this context menu that pops up. So let's take a look at typesetting. So, all right. I have set that. Let's see. Oh, you know what? So if you have a Creative Cloud subscription, especially if you have like the entire Creative Suite subscription, you are permitted to have 100 separate font files synced from what used to be Typekit. So all of those typefaces that I have synced from the Creative Cloud, I have available here, and that is fantastic. Oh, I'm really excited about that. So let's see. I like Museo. So choose that. Go back to the fonts, properties. I guess that's just giving me that. And that is terrible. I don't want to do that. You never want to scale things incorrectly. Okay, so I have to actually open it up in order to access these. All right. So I'm going to zoom in, close that panel. I'm going to zoom in and see what I can do here. I guess I might actually need that panel. Alright. So I was hoping to be able to, like, mess with my tracking there. Okay, I can. It's just gonna take me some more steps. So kerning more than tracking, but I can change it on multiple characters as well. So when you're doing multiple characters all the same spacing, that is tracking. When you are just changing the spacing between two characters, it is kerning. So if you didn't know that already, now you know, Mr. President. I've been way too much into Hamilton recently. So let's take this out. All right, so we have artboard presets. And we can create separate artboards. That's fantastic. Can we draw outside? Oh, see, this is going to be fantastic for me because I do. Oh. Okay. I don't want to rename it. I don't know what it is and I want it to be gone. I will also figure that out later. But I work outside of my artboard a lot. I'll go through a whole bunch of different iterations out there so that my actual canvas there is what I want. And then we can import images. So, okay, there's definitely some questions that I have, some different things that I want to play with. And some things that I will just need to figure out kind of on my own. But overall, I'm really pleased with this. There's definitely some functionality that isn't here, like variable stroke widths. No, like intuitive scaling thing, at least that has shown up. I'll need to kind of play with that on my own and do a little digging. But this is far, far more functional than Photoshop was when they first released it. And I can already see that I will be incorporating this into my workflow, both with my graphic design projects and with Fat Girl Media projects. So if you have a Creative Cloud subscription and you have an iPad, I highly, highly recommend downloading this and playing around with it. So thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll probably start doing more of these videos just as, hey, here's what's up sort of thing. Thanks.